I don't watch a lot of reality TV, and don't get me wrong, it's not because I have some snobbish opinion that reality TV is lesser than scripted TV. It's just a lot of times the premises don't really interest me. The stakes just feel too low. But every once in a while you get something that seems just too weird to be real. It's too much of a bad idea. The stakes seem too high. For me, that is a very bizarre reality TV show called Temptation Island. And much like a few of the contestants on Temptation Island, I didn't come here expecting to fall in love, but I did. If you've never heard of it, allow me to change your life. Temptation Island is a reality dating game show on USA Network hosted by Mark Wahlberg, but not that Mark Wahlberg. 4 couples at a crossroads in their relationship come to an island to get answers about their relationship. They are separated for a month and each live in different villas with single people of the opposite gender, and they go on dates with them to find out if their current relationship is the right one for them. They have no contact with their partner during this month-long period, but there are bonfires where they see a short, out-of-context clip of what their partner is doing on the other side of the island. At the end of the experience, the couples come together for one final bonfire with Mark Wahlberg, but not that Mark Wahlberg, and talk about what they've learned from this experience and whether they'd like to leave the island with the person they came with, whether they'd like to leave the island alone, or whether they'd like to leave the island with someone they met on the island. If you're like me, your immediate response is, wow, that seems really dumb. The producers have combined 2 reality show concepts. One where it's basically to catch a cheater, and one dating show where it's singles looking for love. But unlike other shows where they catch cheaters, the cheaters know they're being filmed, and unlike other looking for love shows, the singles only options are already in relationships. Someone, somewhere in the process, should have looked at this and said, this won't work. But apparently no one did, and what we're left with is the most misguided reality TV show of all time. I mean, I don't think any therapist would agree with the show's message that this is some great learning experience for the couples. I think most therapists would probably say something like, communication is important, and putting yourself in a situation where you are completely cut off from your usual support network and forced to discuss the intimate details of your life with strangers in front of cameras while having no contact with your partner is maybe not the healthiest way to deal with the fact that you want to be proposed to. But I am not a therapist. I am just an idiot who loves drama. All that being said, I can't look away. It's so dumb. It has such a low success rate for these couples, and yet I am transfixed. And so for today's video, I want to guide you through the highlights of season 1 and pretty thoroughly roast the show and the contestants. You know, for entertainment. Before we get started, I do want to disclaim that I don't know any of these people, and for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be talking about them like they were characters in a scripted TV show. I know the line gets blurred with reality TV where they are playing themselves, but it's just not possible for any person to be fully represented for who they are as a human being in a 42-minute episode. So I may say some harsh things about them, but I am talking about the character presented on the TV show, not the person who filmed it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get started. You're not gonna tempt me! Up first, we have Carl and Nicole. Carl is a 31-year-old paraprofessional educator, and Nicole is a robot trying to understand the human world.
I really just want to learn what the hell is there to really know about pineapples. You can eat them, drink them, smash them.
During a talent show in the girls' villa, one of the single guys reads what can only be described as a first grader's idea of a good poem.
I came to this island for one single reason. And after meeting you ladies, I don't plan on leaving.
Aww.
So even if things might get rough on this island, once it's all over, I just hope that you're smiling.
This man lists his occupation as writer, but it makes Nicole cry. Nicole says she never cries, probably because her robot brain is unfamiliar with the emotion. At the bonfire, however, when Carl sees the clip of Nicole crying over the poem, Carl decides seeing her cry means he can have more fun on the island.
Now that I know she's actually opening up, I feel like I can unwind a little bit and have fun, and no harm, no foul there.
I don't even have a joke. I don't see how seeing your partner be moved by something means that you can cut loose and flirt with women more. It's an odd dot connect, but I guess I didn't come to the show expecting to see a bunch of functioning adults, so... Carl starts to open up more to Brittany. Brittany is a great character. She's this hippie yoga instructor. She genuinely seems to get along with and care about everybody. And she does this thing I love where she doesn't talk like a normal person.
Not honoring that he wanted to be close to me.
She's clearly very emotionally intelligent, and Carl isn't, so the whole time you're watching their interactions, it's like watching a horror movie. Like, you just want to scream. Don't go in there! Her fate on the show is made even more obvious when she gets this confessional.
A connection that powerful actually scares me, because the last time I felt it, I had my heart absolutely shredded. And the guy that I was in love with chose another woman.
You in danger, girl.
During this experience, Nicole realizes that even though it's been 2.5 years, her relationship with Carl is very surface level, because she simply was not programmed to feel love.
I didn't know there was like this level of depth to even just not even in a relationship, but to people in general. Like,
what really sets Carl over the edge, though, is seeing Nicole in bed with another man. They aren't being intimate or anything. They aren't kissing. They aren't even cuddling. He's just patting her on the head like a dog. Maybe it's a robot thing. Carl views this as her not being strong enough, though, as it would be too hard for him to resist temptation in that situation. Therefore, it must mean that Nicole's boundaries are the same. So Carl decides to take things further with Brittany. A logical step that certainly doesn't seem like petty revenge for a perceived slight, and it's definitely not cruel at all to use the kindest person on the show, who's clearly very into you, to make your girlfriend jealous. Good instincts, Carl. Carl brings Brittany to his final overnight date, and the next day...
I hope you have a great life, whether I see you again. I hope you have an amazing life.
Now that he's about to see Nicole again, he Marie Kondos her. Just folds her up and thanks her for her service.
He was saying this whole time that he had never felt so connected to someone else before in his life.
Brittany is, of course, devastated and gets a pretty bummer send-off.
But if it was false, and I'll learn from it. I'm gonna grow up.
Carl and Nicole meet at the final bonfire. She comes in cold, and probably not just because she's made of metal. Carl speaks first and says that he was weak because of the things he saw her doing. You know, crying over the world's shittiest poem and getting pat on the head like a dog. But he wants to leave the island with her. Nicole, taking the time to compute what he has said, tells Carl she wants to leave with him too. I think she's just ready to get out of there because her battery is dying and she needs to be charged soon. Mark Wahlberg, but not that Mark Wahlberg, interjects, probably because the producers have told him that they didn't shoot for that ending.
You haven't seen each other for a month. You didn't even shake hands.
That's when Nicole tells the truth.
I feel like I want to learn and grow and develop in myself, and I know you understand that, and I don't know if I would be able to do it at the same capability if we were in a relationship.
The issue is that he just doesn't trust her, and he went through this whole experience not trusting her. And yet he says he wants to go home with her. Carl learned nothing from this experience, but in the end realizes he'd rather go home and have nothing change. Nicole, on the other hand, has learned more about the human world and wants something deeper, and gives us her final thoughts on what she's learned as a robot in our world.
I didn't think it would be hard to break someone's heart that said they still love me.
I would think that would make it harder. It's easy to break up with someone who doesn't love you because they don't love you. So Nicole still has a long way to go, but I believe in her. I think she'll understand human emotion eventually. Up next, we have John, who is a 35-year-old business owner, and his girlfriend is Katie, a 30-year-old marketer. They live together in Fort Worth, and they have been together for 3 years. Katie constantly emasculates John and points out that he's not the type of man she wants.
They'll make excuses about your short barrel.
I grew up around more traditional men, kind of more of a cowboy attitude.
She also calls him a city boy because he's from Dallas.
It's one thing to give my boyfriend a hard time for being from Dallas, aka he's from the city.
And that's really funny to me as someone not from Texas, because when I hear someone's from Dallas, I don't go, "Oh, you're one of them soft city boys, ain't you?" He just wants to be valued for who he is, a beautiful soft boy.
She says she wants like an alpha male, like a southern gentleman,
and I'm definitely not that type. I'm very humble.
On Katie's date, she continues to insult John.
He's just not as manly as like if we were to have children. He would be able to teach our sons how to do that kind of stuff. Wynn has personality that I'm typically more attracted to. So I feel like that's like exactly what I'm looking for. I think that's the type of parent I'll be too.
For sure. I know how I'm gonna be.
How you gonna be? You gonna be a pushover dad?
I'm gonna be, if it's a girl, for sure.
Oh, God.
John has shown these clips at Bonfire because the producers obviously want a reaction.
The dad thing really rubbed you.
Yeah, especially because, you know, I got a little family history. I had a loving dad, but he ended up committing suicide about 5 years ago.
I am so sorry. I didn't know this.
And
Great job on research, production team. And Katie, my God, how cruel are you? Fortunately, the producers dropped this topic going forward, but poor John was just in the trenches for the first couple episodes. Katie has a love triangle with two guys, Wynn and Johnny. Neither guy is very interesting, so I'm not going to spend any time talking about them, but there is one point that I find funny. Johnny and Katie are in Katie's room, and Wynn knocks on the door to talk to Katie.
I think it's really creepy and weird that if a grown man is in bed with a woman that you would knock on the door and come into her bedroom. I was raised a little bit better than that.
You were raised better than that? Your parents must have had amazing foresight. Mine never taught me about rules of engagement when I would be an adult on a reality dating show. When we get to the final bonfire, John finally stands up for himself to Katie.
One of the first bonfire videos I saw was you questioning about me being a man and a father. But as far as being a good man, I've loved, protected, and supported you. As far as being a good father, you've seen how I interact with my nieces, how I am around your friends' babies. I do love you, but I want a woman that's gonna build me up, not tear me down.
And Katie, to her credit, recognizes that.
I think that you're an amazing, amazing man. You're so sweet and you're so kind and you're so funny.
It's rare to have a villain on a reality TV show become self-aware and realize that they contributed to the problems in their own relationship. It's a difficult story, but it's one that Temptation Island told beautifully.
But for me, I just can't.
Wait, what's happening?
And it's not that you're not great with children. It's just the type of man that I want for my household and the type of man that I want to lead my children.
Katie, no.
You make me not want to have kids.
Katie! You know what? Let's move on and meet Evan and Kaci. These two are like gifts from heaven for the producers. I truly do not believe the show would still be on the air if not for these two in the first season. I need to calm down. I need to breathe. I'm getting too excited. Evan and Kaci are both 28 and live in LA. They have been dating on and off for 10 years, but Kaci clarifies.
Dating on and off for 10 years and exclusive for 5.
That feels like an odd, sort of ominous way to describe that timeline. Kaci and her family are religious, and Kaci wants to get married.
Commit to me, Ev. I'm not asking for a lot.
But Evan gives us his reason for not wanting to propose until he's ready.
You know, my dad cheated on my mom, and it led him down the road to actually be murdered by the woman that he was cheating with's husband.
At no point in that sentence did I have any idea what was coming next. Also, when most people describe a path, they describe like a series of escalating issues like addiction. They don't usually use it to describe my dad stepped out on my mom and then he got murdered. It's a very short path. When they meet the singles, unlike some of the other contestants, Kaci is having a good time.
Hey guys, my name's Morgan. I'm a real estate agent, and when I find something I like, I know how to close the deal.
She's cute. She's very cute.
Kaci wants so badly to be the cool girlfriend, you can just tell. Evan asks out Brittany on the first date, but the night before gets into drama with one of the single girls, Catherine. Catherine, eager to find a storyline for herself, is up late the night before the date talking to Evan in the private confessional room and tells Evan that her best friend in the house, Morgan, has a crush on him. I also love that she has a best friend in the house. They've been here for maybe 3 days at this point. The other girls in the house are annoyed at Catherine, not only because she's hogging camera time, but also because they feel it's questionable to spend this much time with a guy this late at night before his date with another girl. To be fair, as an audience member, we don't know what time this event is taking place. Everyone uses the same weird descriptor of the time.
He's up to the wee hours in the morning. But in the wee hours of the morning, like up to the wee hours.
There's a big fight with Catherine and Morgan, with Evan in the middle about Morgan's crush on Evan.
I do not have a crush on Evan. I just don't. Like, I don't.
To make it up to Morgan, Evan takes her on his second date.
Plot twist.
He just wants to show her that he's a good guy and not into the drama. Kaci talks about Evan's issues during her date.
He's not good with temptation at all.
Thankfully, she brought him to a TV show called Repulsion Island, so that shouldn't be an issue going forward. Her date tells her that cheaters are going to cheat, and this is shown to Evan during the bonfire. Evan gets mad.
That's like saying that people can't change. I ain't a cheater anymore, man. I stepped out on Kaci a long time ago. And you know, I do hold guilt for what I've done in the past, but like, I mean, that's so old. That's old news. Dude, I cheated so long ago, bro. Like, god damn.
The next episode, he kisses Morgan. Oh no, Evan! What happened? I thought you changed. Morgan, for her part, is shocked by all of this.
It's just so weird that he has a girlfriend. Like, what? That's usually not my style at all.
And that's why she came onto the one dating game show where the contestants already have girlfriends, to show how not into it she is. Just as things start to look like they're about to become more intimate, Evan stops them. Morgan is impressed by his boundaries.
Like, how? The self-control. How?
I love that confidence. That's not me. I'm more of a, I'm the best thing at this party, and I wouldn't marry me either kind of person. Sadly, Morgan can't stay impressed by his ability to say no, because in the same episode she praised him for it. They get to know each other in the biblical sense. How you gonna say no to this? I don't say no to this. I haven't seen Hamilton. Hashtag canceled. Now, here's another area where I'm gonna say I don't agree with what the show does. Kaci, up until this point, has been blaming herself for coming here, for Evan's actions, for basically everything. And the show desperately just wants to hurt her more. They try to show her the clip during a bonfire video, but she closes her eyes and refuses to watch it. The other girls and Mark Wahlberg, but not that Mark Wahlberg, all criticize her for this decision. But I'm 1,000% Team Kaci on this one.
If he's gonna revert back to his old ways and be a cheater, then if that's who he's gonna be, I just need to move on. I don't need to subject myself to watching it actually happen.
Okay, but now you don't know if it actually happened.
Yeah, I'll see it eventually. I don't want to see it right now, and I just want that to be respected.
Why did you close your eyes?
I closed my eyes because I just really need to stay in a good headspace. So you need to respect the fact that I cannot watch that video.
I understand, but
I'm telling you, I'm gonna walk off.
But they could have been doing anything.
Walking off, done.
Kaci is right, of course. She will have to see this eventually. She's aware that this is all being filmed, and no one wants to see their significant other doing that with another person. So, yeah, kudos to Kaci. Good for you. The show, however, is so angry at her for doing this that future seasons, they aren't allowed to watch it privately, so you have to share it with everyone else at Bonfire. Anyway, moving on.
I thought I was gonna come here and be tempted and maybe realize that I just wasn't supposed to be with Kaci.
Oh, buddy, I think you said the quiet part out loud there. Alternatively, you could have broken up with her in private instead of agreeing to go on TV and humiliating her. We get to the final bonfire with these two, and I have to make a confession. Anytime that I'm feeling low, or I feel worthless, or like nothing can go right, I watch this scene because I can tell myself, well, at least this didn't happen to me.
I don't understand how you could just do that to me.
It is heartbreaking to watch this poor girl's life get absolutely obliterated by the douchiest guy, but I can't look away. Kaci pleads with him to leave with her.
Please believe me.
But in the end, he says he's going to leave with Morgan.
Mark, I'm leaving with someone else.
How is this real? I'm like, am I ever gonna see him again?
As a final twist of the knife, Evan proposes to Morgan during the Where Are They Now segment they shot after production wrap. And the last couple we have is Javen and Shari. Javen and Shari are 25 and have been dating since they were 16. Javen has cheated before, so Shari is using this as a test for him. And there is a part of me that gets where Shari is coming from. I was also cheated on by my first boyfriend at 21, and I get it. It's humiliating. He cheated on me with a DJ from the only radio station in town I listened to. Do you know what it's like to be in the car with your friends and hear, "Hey, it's Rockin' Ronnie here on Hot 104.9," and you have to fight the urge to wrap your car around a tree? But when you're cheated on, your choices are to try to move forward together or to move forward separately. Shari doesn't choose either of those, though. She chooses 5 years of unhappiness and then a reality TV show to fix that unhappiness. Their relationship seems absolutely miserable. Shari is insecure and complains about everything Javen says or does.
This whole lineup is horrible for men, I feel like, for you guys.
Oh, so you think it's good for you?
I didn't say anything like that.
So why wouldn't you say it was horrible for you, too?
Story of my life.
Same with me.
Don't give me a hug. Bring it in. Cuban. Gosh. Let's have fun. Like, we're here in Maui. Like,
Yep, I'm sure you're gonna have fun.
Shari won't look at anyone talking to her. When the producers are clearly prompting her to say nice things about the dates she's going on, she can only come up with this.
He doesn't ask me those deep, burning questions like some of the other guys do.
And she loses her mind over any clip she sees of Javen at the bonfires. I think they have a rule about how he's not allowed to touch any women at all, and at one point, Catherine tries to hold his hand.
Oh, I can't hold hands, though. Got that. It just happened, and I've been drinking.
Just like, don't even want to watch.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That really hurt.
I truly am not sure what he confessed to.
The fact that, like, he would just cross the line in that way is... We're done.
Javen does manage to have fun interactions with the girls that are not romantic. Like, at one point, a bunch of the single girls write on his mirror in lipstick and put kisses on the mirror. So Javen puts on glasses and establishes a task force to get to the bottom of who these mystery lips are. It's very charming, and it's good to see him have fun. The show has such a hard time getting Shari to show any emotion. They have to stage clips of other guys saying nice things about Shari in order to try to make Javen jealous. But even he can see through it, and it doesn't work.
What do you think? I see a bunch of guys who like what I have, and that is what it is.
At one point, Shari sees a video of Javen politely turning down Brittany.
Don't be scared. Be sacred.
I'm trying. I have to go through my phases before I can be able to, you know,
I respect that, and I look forward to the unfolding.
Even that makes her sob.
It's hard to hear someone say the same things that they say to you.
That Javen is saying things to another girl that he normally says to me.
He said he has to go through his phases. It's like seeing Javen interact with anyone, regardless of the context or what is happening, sets her off. It doesn't matter how the interaction is going, it makes her... Well, I'll let her say it.
I want to smack Javen in his face for the way he's acting. Like, you're an idiot.
Shari warms up to the point where there is, like, at least one shot an episode of her smiling.
Definitely feel like tonight I was able to connect with Justin a little bit more.
Completely stone-faced while she said it. While trying to comfort poor Kaci, who is blaming herself for Evan's cheating, Shari has a moment where she seems to finally get it.
I feel like Javen does everything possible to please me, and I just always don't find ways to complain or just like...
Literally. Girl, tell me
beat him
about
up
it.
and like
tell me about it.
With my words, or just like sometimes I'm just like not nice. I just zone out and I just think about things that happened 5 years ago, and it's just like I can't do that.
On her final date, she and her date do yoga and then get some kind of spiritual card reading. I'm not familiar with it. I've heard of tarot cards, but these are apparently called Power of Love cards.
It says, you are developing the skill to distinguish love from fear and truth from illusion.
And as an audience member, you're like, finally, she's gonna get it. This experience has taught her that all of her problems with Javen are imaginary. He made a mistake, but he has spent years trying to make up for it. He just wants to make her happy. She's holding on to pain, refusing to let go. Letting it go means that he might be able to hurt her again. The only person standing in the way of her own happiness is her.
This just with like the fear of like my boyfriend's perception of my own life.
Shari, sweetie, Javen isn't the one perceiving things that aren't there. Javen didn't pull that card. And since the show can't have a 100% fail rate, or else how would they get people to audition for season 2, the show ends with the two of them getting engaged. Two people who, I absolutely cannot stress this enough, should not be together. The audience isn't rooting for them. Shari gave the producers nothing to work with. They even tried to throw her a bone and have her randomly pull a card that had the exact problem she's been dealing with. And somehow she turned that around and was like, you're right. Javen does misinterpret the things I do. And it's like, what? No! I don't normally look up like a where are they now for reality TV people because I don't really think that's fair. They agreed to showcase their private life for this particular moment, but I had to know. So I looked up whether they had gotten married or separated. Apparently they're still engaged. This was filmed like in 2018 probably. It aired in early 2019, so 5+ year engagement is not a great sign. It probably didn't, get the actual counseling that they needed to move forward as a couple. But now that we've covered the main characters, I want to talk about some other things about this show that aren't really related to storylines. I just feel like they're worth mentioning. In the first episode, we're introduced to Mark Wahlberg, but not that Mark Wahlberg, 4 couples, and then 24 singles. And 33 characters is just way too many characters to be introduced to in the first episode. I can't think of a scripted TV show that introduces this many people to you in the pilot and expects you to be able to figure out who everybody is and what their personality traits are. You're just visually assaulted with a barrage of hot people who don't have their own storylines, yet the show has elimination episodes like it's Survivor. But you don't know most of these people, so there are no stakes. This season has some stupid necklace thing where after the couples have met all the singles, you can block one of the singles from dating your partner until the final overnight date by giving them a necklace. John and Katie are the only couple to do this. John uses it to block Roman, a cowboy, who suffered the traumatic loss of his personality in a horseback riding accident. I assume dude is like watching paint dry. Katie uses it to block Catherine, a southern blonde bombshell. The necklace thing is just really frustrating because it's so unnecessary. It nukes poor Roman out of the competition. Is it a competition? I guess to be a competition you would have to consider Katie a prize. Catherine manages to stick around, but that's because Catherine understands TV. When the opportunity with John goes away, she attempts a storyline with Javen. The hand-holding thing. That makes Javen terrified. So then she goes to Evan, and we get the wee hours bit. When he falls in love with Morgan, she does move back to John and finishes out his storyline with him. They don't bring back the necklace concept for other seasons, and I'm so grateful. They have this incredibly frustrating moment in episode 4 where we're introduced to 2 more singles. The whole story stops dead to introduce these 2, Cameron and Lindsay. They get a bunch of screen time in this one episode, but not any others, and they're both eliminated shortly after this episode. I do have a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, though, because Lindsay says that she knows Evan. They met on a dating app. Immediately, I'm trying to calculate in my head to be like, wait, how long did Evan and Kaci say they were together? He remembers her too, but they clear things up that they never met in person, although she saw him in Santa Monica. She said she was too nervous to approach him, though. Possibly because he was with his girlfriend? We may never know. My theory is that production knew that Lindsay knew Evan, and so they wanted to create a storyline with someone that Evan had possibly almost cheated with previously. But they didn't want Kaci to see her and put Evan on edge on the first day. They wanted to lull Evan into a false sense of security. And remember the stupid necklace thing? That's why they wait for Lindsay to come in later, because if Lindsay had been there on day 1, Kaci could have potentially blocked her. So that's why there's this stupid contrived introduction of 2 new characters who get a whole episode dedicated to them, but then leave pretty early on, having impacted nothing. Anyway, there is a potential storyline for Lindsay, but definitely not for Cameron, who says he's here after a failed engagement. I'm sure this showed her, Cameron.
Cameron looks like Clark Kent, and that looked like Superman, so...
They're the same person, Johnny. And then again, maybe this is some sort of cutting commentary on how all the men in this show are interchangeable and have no distinct personalities. There is Matt, who does stand out, but not for the right reasons. He seems to be on the show just to be absolutely dunked on.
Hey, Nicole, I got a question for you.
What's up?
We haven't been on a date yet.
Yeah?
What's up with that?
Whoa, that's aggressive. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, I was just asking you.
I feel like you're calling me out in front of a bunch of people and it's kind of awkward.
I don't know if a producer had beef with Matt before the show or something, but basically the only time we see Matt is when someone is roasting him.
I am not enjoying talking to Matt.
Val is the only single guy I kinda like. He has an odd charm to him. You get the impression that Val thinks he's cooler than he really is, but he's so genuine about it that you're kind of like, aw, sweet baby boy. He also has this incredible ability to never know when to finish a sentence.
He was just the entire time looking down. That's a sign of weakness, my man. The troops are coming in, pal. And you better watch out. You better not cry. Now I'll tell you why. Because Val's in town. How you doing?
I don't know, it works for him. I'd be friends with Val. The single girls factor into more storylines, but as for the ones that don't, there's Sheldon. I don't really have anything to say about Sheldon other than she reminds me of the girls I went to high school with. Big Abercrombie and Fitch in 2006 energy. She does go on a date with Carl, but Carl says this.
Do you miss her?
I do. It's starting to hit, not being able to see her and be intimate with her.
Right.
I have needs, and
For context, this is the very first date he goes on. So, I guess the date doesn't go well. And then there's my queen, Jeffrey. It honestly blows my mind that Jeffrey did not make it to the end. I love Jeffrey. If I were on the show, absolutely, Jeffrey would be my date every time. She's so beautiful, and she wears the best clothes, and just seems like a fun, sweet person. She does go on one date with Carl, but he says he's not feeling it. Good for you, Jeffrey. You deserve better. There's also the show's soundtrack, which I won't play here for copyright reasons, but it has such weirdly specific, on-the-nose lyrics for every situation that we're in, that at one point I was like, did they hire someone to write and record these songs? But no, I think they just have a big catalog and they're good at finding songs that fit very specific situations. I know I have just relentlessly made fun of this TV show, and though it may not seem like it, I love this show so much. It's recently finished its 5th season, and all 5 seasons are streaming on Peacock as of the time of recording this video. So I definitely recommend it if you're looking for good entertainment. I'm not sure how much longer the show can go on. On Reddit, people have theorized that some couples aren't actual couples and are just looking to be on TV, but I'm not sure how you get people to agree to be on it. An actual couple going through problems would probably just go to couples therapy. I mean, the absolute best outcome for these people is that they don't totally embarrass themselves and they get a few more Instagram followers out of it. If you want to see me cover the other seasons, give this a like and leave me a comment letting me know. If there's enough interest, I'll definitely do it. I have stuff to say about all of them, for sure. This is a minor obsession of mine. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Now, I think if I were Kaci, I would say, then I'm going to be leaving here with handcuffs, and he's going to be leaving here in a body bag. Oh, wait. Should I not make that joke because of his dad? Guess it is in kind of poor taste. Then again, Kaci does deserve to get some low blows in there.